Hi everyone. If you're here to improve your English, you're definitely in the right place. If you enjoy this lesson, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Yes, your support means a lot to us. Thank you for being here. So, Lily, what are we going to talk about today? Today's topic is very practical. We're going to learn how to talk about your job in English. That's a really useful skill. Whether you're meeting new people, going to a job interview, or just having a casual conversation, it's important to know how to describe your work. Exactly. And we'll keep it simple and enjoyable. We'll share useful expressions, highlight common mistakes, and practice together. Sounds great. Before we start, Lily, how are you today? I'm feeling great. I had a very productive morning. How about you? I'm doing well too. I'm excited about today's lesson. I think our audience will learn a lot. I agree. Alright everyone, let's begin. Let's start with the most common question about jobs. Lily, how do you usually ask someone about their work? Good question. The easiest and most natural way is to ask, what do you do? That's very simple. Yes, it is. You can also say, what do you do for a living? But, what do you do, sounds more natural in everyday conversation. Can I say, what is your job? You can, but it sounds a bit formal. Native speakers usually prefer, what do you do, because it feels more friendly. Got it. So how do we answer that question? The easiest way is to say, I'm a, followed by your job. For example, I'm a teacher. So I could say, I'm a designer, or, I'm a doctor. Exactly. You can also add more details. For example, I'm a teacher. I teach English to children. I like that. First say your job, then give more information. Right. Here are a few more examples. I'm a nurse. I work in a hospital. Or, I'm a chef. I work in an Italian restaurant. Great examples. What if someone doesn't have a job at the moment? In that case, you can say, I'm looking for a job, or, I'm between jobs right now. Those are polite and natural ways to say it. And students can say, I'm a student. I study at university, or, I'm still in school. Perfect. So we have the question, what do you do? And the answer, I'm a. Plus the job. Exactly. Let's practice. Ryan, what do you do? I'm a content creator. I make educational videos about English. That's true, we're making one right now. My turn. I'm a teacher. I help people learn English online. Great answer. See how easy that is. Now let's talk about different types of jobs. There are so many. Let's give a few examples. In healthcare, you might be a doctor, nurse, dentist, or pharmacist. In business, you could be a manager, accountant, salesperson, or entrepreneur. In technology, you might be a software developer, web developer, data analyst, or IT specialist. In education, you could be a teacher, professor, tutor, or school counselor. In creative fields, you might be a designer, artist, photographer, writer, or musician. There are also service jobs like waiter, barber, receptionist, or security guard. And skilled trades like electrician, plumber, carpenter, or mechanic. Now think about your own job. How would you describe it in English? Let's move on to another common question. Where you work? Right. Someone might ask, where do you work? You can answer in different ways. For example, I work in an office, or, I work in a hospital. Or you can mention a company, I work at a tech company, or, I work for an international firm. Notice the difference. We say, work at, for a place and, work for a company or person. That's important. For example, I work at a hospital, but, I work for a private clinic. Exactly. And many people work from home now. You can say, I work from home, or, I work remotely. That's very common these days. Now let's talk about describing what you do at your job. Yes, this is where you can explain your daily tasks and responsibilities. Responsibilities are the duties or tasks you are expected to do at work. For example, you can say, my main responsibility is to teach students. Or, my responsibilities include answering emails, organizing meetings, and preparing reports. Here are a few examples for different jobs. If you work in customer service, you might say, I help customers solve problems. I answer calls and reply to emails. If you're a sales manager, you could say, I lead a sales team, set goals, and monitor performance. If you're a designer, you might say, I create visual content for websites and advertisements. Notice how simple and clear the language is. Exactly. You don't need complicated words, just keep it natural. Now let's talk about the people you work with. These are your colleagues or coworkers. You can say, I work with a great team, or, I have several colleagues in my department. Your boss is the person who manages you. For example, my manager is very supportive. If you are the boss, you can say, I manage a team, or, I supervise staff. And if you work alone, you can say, I'm self-employed, I'm a freelancer, or, I run my own business. Now let's talk about work schedules. People often ask, what are your working hours, or, when do you work? You can answer like this. I work from 8 to 5 or, I start at 8 a.m. and finish at 6 p.m. Some people work shifts. For example, I work the morning shift, or, I work night shifts. If your schedule changes, you can say, my schedule is flexible, or, I work different hours each week. Some jobs are full-time, around 40 hours per week, and others are part-time, with fewer hours. So you can say, I work full-time, or, I have a part-time job.